What's up guys, it's Johnny O with Tito Tech TV, and today we're going to homebrew a 3DS. Before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. Just like with any custom or unofficial firmware, you risk bricking your device. If you decide to attempt this, you do so at your own risk. You are solely responsible for any damage that may occur to your device.
So the first thing you want to do is go to 3ds.guide/getting-started. I'll go ahead and put the link to that in the description below. So once you get here, you'll get to this getting started page. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see a selector for new 3DS or the old 3DS and 2DS. So today I'm going to be working on the old 3DS, actually an old 3DS XL. So we're going to select that. And you go down here and you can pick your firmware version. So if you're on the latest 11.2 version, there is a new SoundHax homebrew launcher out that will allow you to go ahead and get custom firmware loaded on your 3DS. So once you get on this page, first thing it's going to do is tell you what you need to download to do this, and then run through the instructions, and it'll do that on each page, each step of the process. So what I recommend doing is going ahead and downloading all these, then going to the next step, downloading all of these here, then go to the next step, download this here if you're on USA, and then there's the other regions here if you're not in USA region, and then go to the next step. So once you get to this page, you'll see there's actually a bunch of stuff here for you to download. So you get that all downloaded, and then what I recommend doing is going ahead and putting that all in a folder on your desktop in one location, so it's easy to reference as you go through the guide. And then that's going to be the last step there. So let's go ahead and back up to the beginning. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. So I've already got my 3DS SD card loaded up on this computer. And so we're going to start at step 1. Copy the contents of the starter folder and starter.zip to the root of your SD card. So what we're going to do is go pull these two up. So I'm going to go to starter, and you just need the contents of that into the root of this SD card here. Alright. And then we need the SoundHax MP4 file, which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and put that, because that's on the root as well. Yep, root. And then other app payload, we're going to copy that over. And I believe when I downloaded it, it got named something else. Yeah, it's this post 5 U266 is what it's going to look like. So one thing to note, when you go to SoundHax, you're going to need to pick your region and then new or old 3DS to download it. And then you'll see on the other app, you'll have to select old or new, and then which firmware version is in your region before you download other app. Alright, so let's go ahead and pop back in here real quick. And when you download other app, it's got this weird name to it, so we're going to go ahead and copy that over. And then we're going to rename to other app. And we're going to pop that out and reinsert it into our 3DS. So we're going to go ahead and close this folder so we can eject the SD card. So then we're going to go ahead and start up our 3DS. And we're going to go ahead and go to 3DS Sound and launch that. And guys, sorry I'm having to record the screen of this 3DS with the camera here. I don't have any hardware mod on this or anything. Alright, so we're going to go down to the SD card. And we're going to play this Heart Nedwill 2016 file. That's our SoundHax. And you see it'll immediately go ahead and launch you into the homebrew. So we're going to go ahead and shut down again. And then place the SD card back in our computer. And we're going to go back to the root and we're going to create a new folder. We're going to name it Files 9. And we're going to go into the 3DS folder. Go back out into our folder on the desktop with all our files, and you'll see here the next thing we need to do is take safehax 3ds or 3dsx and and just copy that over. And we need fasthax, so we're gonna go get fasthax and copy it over. And then we need to go get our decrypt 9 wip.bin, and that's going to be inside a zip file. So I've already actually unzipped all of these, actually, except for I think this decrypt one. So I had most of my work done ahead of time. So I'm going to extract that and take this decrypt.bin file, copy it. We're going to go back to the root and paste it. Now we've got to rename it to safehax payload.bin. So once we rename that to safehax payload.bin, we can go ahead and close that out and eject. And then we'll stick it back in our 3DS. Once we get the 3DS booted up again, we're going to go ahead and go back to Nintendo Sound. And we'll have to go through the little birdies there again. And we're going to play the file again to get back into the Homebrew launcher. Now, you may get stuck on one of the color flashes on the lower screen there. If you get stuck, for instance, on the blue color flash screen and it doesn't move any further forward, don't worry about it. Just shut it down, power it back up, and then try again. The first time I did it on my new 3DS XL, it actually got stuck on the blue screen. Again, just shutting it down and powering it back up and retrying the Homebrew launcher seemed to clear everything up. So now we're going to scroll down here and we want to launch this safehax. And then we need to press, oh, I can't see. Then we need to press start. There we go. To continue. That's going to take us back to the Homebrew launcher. And then we need to launch safehax. So again, we're going to scroll down until we find our safehax. There it is. We're going to go ahead and press select on the main menu. And what that's going to do is allow us to unmount the SD card and remove it. And make sure you don't press B until after you've got the SD card back in your 3DS. So we're going to go into the Files 9 folder, and we're going to go and look for 2.1.0 CTR transfer folder here. And we're just going to copy these both into this Files 9. Alright, once that's done, we'll close it out and eject the SD card from our computer again. So we'll go and reinsert the SD card. And we're going to press B to return back to the decrypt 9 menu. And let me just make sure this has focus on the menu so you guys can see what's going on here. So we're going to go to sysnand options. And then we want to go to CTR NAND transfer and auto CTR NAND transfer. So then you're going to have to input this key combination here. And then we're going to select the CTR transfer image. And it's going to prompt us to do an optional NAND backup. So we'll go ahead and do that backup to nandmin.bin by pressing A. And this will take some time. I do recommend go ahead and plug in your 3DS into power before you start this process, because if you lose power, there's a potential to brick the device. Alright, so once this is completed, we're going to go ahead and press B to return back to the menu. And then we want to press select so we can eject our SD card again. So we plug back into the computer here, and what we're going to do is, if we look at our instructions here, we're going to delete those transfer images. So the bin and the bin.sha. So then we're going to press start to reboot without reinserting the SD card. And so now we're going to go and continue on to the next step. Let's go back to the root of our SD card. I'm going to create a new folder called CIA. And before we move any further, I'm going to go ahead and go back to my folder where I have all the files stored on my desktop. And I'm going to go ahead and put a new folder there called backup. And we're going to go ahead and copy this files9 folder into this backup folder here. Alright, so we're going to go back to our SD card. So we created the CIA's folder. Or oops, forgot the S. Okay. So, and if you look at the instructions, delete the A9LH folder. We don't have that yet, so that's fine. Delete the 3DS folder from the root of your SD card if it exists. I'm going to go ahead and back this up just in case. So go ahead and back up the 3DS folder as well, just to be on the safe side. And then we're going to go ahead and delete it. Oops, delete it from this SD card, yes. So then we're going to go back to the starter folder, like we did before. And we just want to copy this over again. And we'll just go ahead and do that. You find the safe A9LH installer. We're going to copy the contents of this to the root of the SD card. I'm going to go over to data input, and we're going to copy this, put it to the root as well. I'm going to go back over here and find. Okay, so the next one's going to be the ARM9 loader hacks, which is in this release right here. So we're going to copy the contents of this to the A9LH. So paste that there. Then we need to go to HB launcher, copy the CIA, and then when you put that in, you guessed it, the CIA's folder. If we go over here, FBI.CIA needs to be in this, in this CIA's folder on your SD card, as well as the as well as the Luma updater, Luma 3DS. And we copy the ARM9 loader hacks.bin. I'm going to go ahead and replace. Then we're going to create a new folder on the SD card called Luma. And then we're going to create another new one called Payloads. Oops, this payloads folder I think is supposed to be inside of Luma. So we go to Luma, Payloads, put in Hourglass, and then we need God Mode 9. There it is, God Mode 9, and we need the bin. Paste it in there. And then Hourglass is just to rename and add start to the beginning of the file name here. And then we're going to rename God Mode 9. So rename God Mode 9 up at the beginning of it. And then we need the AES key database.bin. And I believe, yeah, it's actually supposed to be in the files 9, so I'm going to cut that from there. And put that in files 9, right there. And then ds dump 3dsx is going to go into this 3ds folder here. So this one right here, I'll paste in there. And then, let's see, FBI injectable. We're going to copy all of this. And we're going to put that in the files 9 folder. Just like that. Alright, so what I would recommend doing is kind of reading back through this top piece here, because I had a little bit of trouble here when I was doing it. I missed a couple of the renames. Like, first time I did it, I didn't rename the God mode and Hourglass files. But just kind of buzz back through that before you go to the next step, and just make sure that you've named everything how it needs to be named and whatnot. Make sure all the files are where they're supposed to be and all the correct files are in the correct places. Because that can cause some no boot issues, stuff like that. I didn't have any issues with bricking my DS whenever I made those little mistakes like that. But you always want to double check and make sure, because you don't want to risk bricking your system. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and close out the SD card and eject it from my computer. And then what we're going to do is go ahead and reinsert that SD card. Alright, get this back in the frame. Should be pretty good. Alright, I want to get that kind of centered. So what we want to do is go to, and you'll notice the interface changed here because we went down to firmware 2.1.0. So we go to the web browser. It's up here. So go to the web browser. Make sure your wireless is on and you are connected, because that will make a difference. We're going to want to go to 2xrsa.3ds.guide, hit confirm, and the page should load, and then there we go. Then we want to go ahead and press select for the full install. Let's go ahead and get this focus on the top screen here. So full install succeeded, so I'm going to press any button to shut down. And then, yet again, we're going to take the SD card out of our 3DS, plug it into our computer. So once we're here, what we want to do is find our otp.bin, which should be in the A9 LH. There we go, otp.bin, copy. Then we'll go and put it in our backup folder. Go into our backup folder, paste that into the same location. Then we can go ahead and close out and eject our SD card. And back to the 3DS with you. So we'll go ahead and insert our SD card into the 3DS. And so what you want to do is power on the system while holding select. So I'm going to go ahead and hold down select and press the power button. And by doing that, you'll see I've loaded into the Luma 3DS menu. So we're going to use the A button and D-pad to turn on the following options. So we're going to turn on auto boot sysnand. So mark a little X next to that. Then we do, let's see, use sysnand firm if booting with R. We want to select that. And show NAND or user string in system settings. So that's going to be this one right here. Alright, and then if you're following along with the 3ds.guide, which I highly recommend that you do, if you're on new 3ds, the steps are a little different, so you should be using those instead. This is the old 3ds XL if I didn't already mention that. And then we're going to go ahead and press start to save and reboot. So press start. Alright, so if you get a black screen or get a failed to mount CTR NAND error, those are both perfectly fine. Just go ahead and continue to the next section. So I'm going to go ahead and power off. So next what we want to do is hold start as we power on. And that'll load us up into Hourglass 9. Alright. So now we're going to go to sysnand backup and restore. And sysnand restore with keep A91H or A9LH. And so we want to go ahead and put the key combination in, and we're going to restore from nandmin.bin. If you remember, that's the backup we created earlier. So this is going to take several minutes to complete, so sit back, relax, find something to do. I'll speed this part of the video up like I did earlier. So we're going to press start to reboot. So then next thing you're supposed to do is go into the system settings. And we're going to do this anyways even though we're already on 11.2. Let me go ahead and reset this. We're already on 11.2.0-35, which is currently the highest firmware level, but the instructions tell us to go ahead and go and do a system update. It's just going to tell us that we're up to date. Alright, so then we're going to go ahead and shut down our 3DS again. So once we get back to the home menu here, hold down the power button, and then we're going to hold start on boot again to get into Hourglass 9. Then we're going to go into sysnand backup and restore. And we're going to go to health and safety dump. Select that. We're going to select hs.app as the name. And that succeeded. Then we're going to press B to back out. And we're going to go to health and safety inject. And we're going to do the key combination again. And what we want to select is this FBI USA injectable for the old 3DS. And we're going to go ahead and press A. And of course, if you have a different region 3DS, you're going to choose whatever region is correct for you. So that completes pretty quickly. And then we're going to go ahead and press start to reboot our system. So then we're going to go to our health and safety, which will now say FBI. And we're going to go ahead and open that. So we're going to SD, CIAs, select FBI, install, yes. And then we're going to say OK. Then we're going to install the Homebrew launcher. Install CIA, yes. And then we're going to install the Luma updater. Click OK. Then we're going to go back, and then we're going to go to the A9 or ARM9 loader hacks.bin. I'm going to press OK, select copy, and then we're going to go back to CTR NAND, and then we're going to select paste. We're going to exit. with the home button, and we're gonna launch. We'll get a couple of updates. We'll go ahead and unwrap these. I don't want to open that yet. What I want is the Homebrew launcher. So we're gonna go ahead and open this. Yeah, that's fine. You see, now we can launch Homebrew without the SoundHax. So we're going to go to DSP dump. We're going to press A on that. And that's it. We're going to press start to exit. And now we're going to go ahead and back out of here. There we go. So if you press start from the Homebrew launcher, you'll get the reboot menu. So we're going to go ahead and press X to go back to the home menu. Because I'm in a funny position, I need to be able to get to the start button when I boot back up. So I'm just going to go ahead and power off via the normal power down procedure, sort of. So now we're going to boot up while holding start again. Get into our hourglass 9. We're going to go back to sysname, backup, and restore. And we're going to go to health and safety inject. We're going to enter the key sequence again. And now we're going to go ahead and select hs.app, which is our original health and safety app, and just reinstall that. We're going to back out, and we're going to press select so we can eject our SD card again. Now we're going to press start to reboot with the SD card removed. Hopefully everything's in frame there. And now that we've started with the SD card removed, we're going to make sure that show NAND or user string in system settings is selected by highlighting it and pressing the A button. And then we're going to reinsert the SD card. We're going to press start, which will go ahead and save and reboot the system. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. You should now officially have a Homebrew launcher and a custom firmware installed on your 3DS, as well as FBI, and an updater for your custom firmware. So go ahead and you can Google around, see what you can do with the custom firmware and Homebrew launcher on your 3DS. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. I'll do another video showing you guys how to set up NTR and actually do video streaming with a new 3DS XL. This one here is an old 3DS XL, but I already have my new 3DS set up with NTR. Like I said, I'll do a separate video show you guys how to set it up on your 3DS and then how to set up the streaming to your PC on your local network. So until next time, thanks for watching guys. Again, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's Johnny O signing out.